What up, my friends? Day 10, yeah. Day 110. 110 days. No excuses 2024, right? And what was on my mind, or what is on my mind this morning is argument, how to argue, and just arguments in general, right? And disingenuine arguments. And, I can admit that, especially online, I can get into some bullshit in arguing, like ad hominem attacks and stuff like that, right? So I've been trying to regulate that for sure. I'm regulating that for sure. I don't go on certain things, and a lot of times I'm like, something, you can just scroll on by, buddy. Not a big deal. And, but I had posted this thing. I didn't write it, someone else wrote it, and I liked it, and it was like, I was once willing, keyword willing, to die for what this country stood for, or at least what we were told it stood for, right? Because I'm 53 and hasn't been about truth, justice, and the American way for a long time, right? Or protecting our sovereignty for many, 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 many decades, right? And then, the bottom said, like, but not what, I'm paraphrasing, but the direction it's going now, something like that, right? And I agree with parts of it for sure, but this friend of mine came on and was like, "Oh, did you ever serve? I didn't think so," and blah, 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 blah. You don't have, you can't love the American ideal without having served, right? And, people come at you like that, especially, I'm a straight white male, right? So I can't have an opinion on anything. You don't know where I grew up. You don't know how I grew up. You don't know what I went through. Just like I don't know that about you, right? Or whoever. And, but the same people come with the same type of arguments, right? So, you can't speak about abortion, only if you're against it, right? You can't speak about abortion if you're not a woman. You can't speak about race if you're not black. You can't speak about trans whatever, ideology or rights or gay rights if you're not either of those things. What's the other one? You can't talk about Jews if you're not Jewish. Really? That's your only argument, is you have to be the thing in order to speak on the thing? This is a country of ideas, ideals, and many different cultures, right? And we're supposed to come together. You bring a little bit of your culture and everybody accepts the rest of American culture, and we all mix it together, That's why I don't like that whole stupid term, cultural appropriation. This guy said this, he believes in a cultural appropriation probably as well. You know what I mean? Lives in Cambridge or Medford. I lived there too. I used to live there. I felt exactly the same way. Exactly the same way, until I could get away from the bullshit, until I could get out into the woods, until I could stop paying attention to the message, right? Because that's all it is. We want to hear the truth. I want to hear the news. I want to hear, several sides of it, right? But no, we just get messaging. They tell you what you're going to believe. They tell you what the truth is. So I wasn't mad. I just thought it was kind of funny. And I was like, dude, maybe you should work on those anger issues, right? Because, I'm fucking a clown too. And I'm working on my anger issues. And he's like, I don't know why you think I'm angry. And it's like, well, you would have just scrolled on by if you weren't angry, right? And, I'm not trying to pick on the guy. I like the kid, he's all right. You know what I mean? But it's just funny. I can't say anything about how I feel about America because I didn't serve in the military. Well, sorry to break it to you, but only 1% of the population serves, okay? I've had plenty of relatives who served, but, no, I did not serve myself. I went down a different path. I was more in the criminal element of things, I spent time in juvie, for years, for felonies when I was a child to same thing as an adult, so no, I did not serve, but I have much respect for the people that did. And that doesn't mean that I can't have an opinion on the direction I think the country's going. It's so funny because people think that I'm on the right, but I'm not. I've said it before. I'll align with anybody to do good, but nobody to do evil, right? And I'm still anti-deep state type shit, right? Anti-CIA, anti-FBI, anti-freaking, preemptive military strikes and having 900 bases across the globe and claiming everybody else is being paranoid and coming after us, even though we surround all their nations, I think that American tax dollars, if we're going to keep taking taxes, should be spent on Americans, I do think that there's a big, huge issue at the border, and within country too. We have a huge fentanyl problem. People are still dying by the hundreds every day just from drug and alcohol overdoses, and many other things that go along with that, the suffering, And I want truth in the media. So I guess, that makes me right wing. But when I talk to my right wing clientele and friends of mine they're like, you're more in the middle than anything else, And I tend to agree, and I've changed my views on a lot of stuff, I don't know what people are, well, I do know what people are watching. You can tell from their takes. You can tell by the information that comes out of their mouth exactly where they heard that. Because I watch clip shows, where people are making fun of the mainstream news and shit, and I hear them saying and parroting, sprinkling a little, I hear them saying and parroting the same shit that freaking Joe Scarborough and Neocon Minka and Al, the freaking race baiter Sharpton speak on, it's and all the other ones, Joyanne Trumpwig Reed, is she that mad at him because they have the same fucking hairdo? Isn't that cultural appropriation? See, it's not, right? See, that's the thing. We don't care. Do what you want. But anyway, I just think it's funny that that's the argument, And the other one is anytime I say anything about the LGBTQ thing, and I'm not trying to be hurtful. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. I'm just, talking about shit, and some of the stuff is a little outrageous. And people will be, their main insult to me is, well, you're probably gay. Okay, so your identity is an insult against me, but you want me to respect your identity. That don't make any sense either. You know what I mean? We're all part of this together. We're all basically cousins. We don't always agree. We don't always agree, and that's okay. That's okay in this country, you know what I'm saying? And, the people on the right, I'm not about, I don't like them being, to tell you can't film a police officer within 25 feet or, you can't say Palestine this or Hamas that. I'm not saying that I'm pro this or that, but I'm pro free speech, I'm pro First Amendment, Second Amendment, all the good amendments. But yeah, man. I don't know, that's just on my mind today, arguing and how to argue better. My girlfriend and I were talking about an argument last, tiff that we had, and, I didn't handle it properly, I guess, I said some cuss words, and, I'm not always 100% in my head, when conflicts come up. I try to be, and if I fuck up, I apologize. I apologize that time. And, it's I'm a work in progress. The views I have today at 53 might not be my views tomorrow at 63, right? The views I had when I was 23 weren't the views that I had when I was 13 or 33 or 43, right? It's just, hopefully, if you're the same person today as you were when I first met you, you wasted a lot of time, my friends. And I get it. We all get emotional about topics that we're passionate about, right? But you have to somewhat remove that emotion out of it. And I'm guilty of not doing that, for sure. I can lash out just like the rest of them. I do it a lot less, but I still do it. But you got to take the emotion out of it and just try to have an actual rational conversation. People really think that if you have a viewpoint that's not their viewpoint, that you guys are enemies, right? And that's just stupid. That's not. That's only real on news media and then in your own head. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. I always think that people are thinking about me all the time, right? Like I'll be out doing the garden work or shoveling, and I think that my family's there, like with their phones, making TikTok videos about how great their dad is and look how hardworking he is and this and that, and then I come inside and nobody even knew I was outdoors, because that's how grandiose and egocentric I am, Most people ain't thinking about you, motherfucker. I wouldn't even have known that you like the path that America's on at this point. I mean, other than some of your posts, but, sorry, man. I ain't a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. Most of my life I was a registered Democrat, but, if I didn't like any of the candidates, I just didn't vote, and I'm still that way. But I gotta, it's just crazy. It's crazy. We got to learn how to talk to each other without freaking being irrational and angry. We're never going to make it as a nation if we don't. And that's okay. You know what I mean? Like the Roman Empire fell, right? And we still got fucking Italians. So we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Peace.